I walked into my own studio and found my wife posing for a man she swore she barely knew. But she wasn't posing for photos. Yeah, she was posing for him. In a way I had never seen her pose for me. And the craziest part? They thought I'd never find out. They thought I'd never walk in. They thought I'd never catch them. But what they didn't know was that I had already set the perfect trap. Long before I opened that door. My name is Caleb. I'm 32, and for most of my life, I thought I understood love. I met Riley when I was 29. She was warm, soft-spoken, and carried this energy that made you feel like the world slowed down when she smiled. We weren't married, but we were in a committed relationship. The kind where you talk about the future like it's already written. We lived together. We shared everything, our goals, our routines, our late-night jokes, our quiet mornings. I owned a small creative studio. Riley knew how much it meant to me. She used to sit in the corner while I worked, sipping her favorite drink, teasing me about how I'd lose track of time whenever I was focused. Back then, I felt safe with her. I felt loved. I felt seen. When I hired a photographer named Jared to help with some studio sessions, Riley said he seemed friendly. That was all. Life felt steady, simple, good. I had no idea the storm that was building right behind me. The first red flag was small. Riley suddenly started visiting the studio more often, on days she never used to. She'd show up with coffee for both of us, except she always handed Jared's cup to him first. Then she started dressing differently when she'd come by. More makeup, more perfume, more attention to clothing she never wore for me at home. I tried brushing it off. I told myself I was overthinking. I told myself, Caleb, relax. She loves you. But then the late-night texts began. Riley started turning her phone away from me, smiling at the screen more than usual, laughing at jokes she refused to explain. Every time I walked into the room, she'd flip the phone face down. When I asked who she was texting, she'd say, just a friend. But when I asked which friend, she suddenly forgot the name. That's when denial became impossible. One night she told me, I'm going to visit a friend later. Don't wait up. But she didn't know I saw Jared's name flash on her lock screen right before she left. That was the moment my heart cracked. But it was also the moment a new version of me woke up. 2 days later, Riley said she was going to run errands, but something in her tone felt rehearsed, like she had practiced it. So I checked the studio's security feed. My stomach dropped. The moment I saw the two of them walk through the back door, holding hands like teenagers sneaking around school, I felt something inside me turn cold. They thought the cameras were off. They didn't know I kept one hidden, one even Jared didn't know existed. I drove straight to the studio, and the moment I opened the door, I froze. There she was, Riley, my partner, wearing a dress she once told me she only wore for special nights. And Jared, standing behind her, hands on her waist, his voice whispering instructions that had nothing to do with photography. My chest tightened, my ears rang, my hands shook. Riley's eyes went wide the moment she saw me. She jerked away from him like I was the one doing something wrong. Caleb, it's not what it looks like. But it was. It was exactly what it looked like. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. Instead, I smiled. A calm, terrifying smile. Riley, I said, do you want to explain why you and the photographer I pay are using my studio for your little hobby? She stumbled over her words. Jared muttered something about misunderstanding, but I already had everything I needed, because I had recorded the entire last 2 hours from the hidden camera. I pulled out my phone, tapped play, and watched their faces drain of color as the audio filled the room. The gasps, the giggles, the moans, every whisper they thought was private. You both can leave, I said, but before you go. I handed Jared an envelope. Inside was his termination letter. Inside another envelope was Riley's packed jewelry, everything I had ever bought her. I already changed the locks, I said softly. My life doesn't have space for people who lie. Riley tried to grab my arm. Caleb, please, let's talk. I stepped back. No, You already talked. I already heard it. Jared walked out without looking back. Riley left in tears. The door closed behind them, and for the first time in months, I breathed. The days that followed were heavy, but healing. Riley tried calling, tried texting, tried apologizing. I never replied. I poured myself into rebuilding my space, cleaning out every trace of her, repainting the walls, resetting the energy. And slowly, something beautiful happened. Peace returned. My confidence returned. I returned, the person I had been before the lies, before the secrets, before the betrayal, found his way back. And the moral? When someone disrespects the love you give, the smartest revenge is taking that love away. Karma doesn't need help, just distance. If you're listening right now, remember this. Self-respect is the strongest form of justice. When someone shows you their true colors, don't repaint them. Walk away and heal. Subscribe to SilkMirror for more real-life stories of heartbreak, revenge, and transformation.